Hi, you'll have heard in a number of these videos about the so-called working angle. Here's a short explanation of why the working angle is important for us to design bits so that the right things are pressing on the horse's tongue. The working angle specifies an angle between two important lines of interest. The first line is a line on the horse's anatomy inside his mouth. I've drawn it here as a line called the tongue line, where the horse's head is approximately in this position. So on this model of the horse's head, you can see that the tongue line clearly is a line along the lower jaw and along the muscular tongue. The second line of importance is something on the bit. So if you take a bit, in this loose ring example, it's something on the bit that you can identify as being a line through the bore on the end of the cannon of the bit. It's the axis that runs through this hole here. So on the loose ring bit, it's the bore axis. We can draw that on this diagram. First of all, we'll draw the bore axis in this direction here, BA. Now, when it's drawn like that, there is only cheek piece pressure on the bit. There's no rein tension whatsoever. So there's an orientation between the bit and the horse's tongue. Here, the bore axis is approximately at right angles to the tongue line. Now, when the rider takes up rein tension, what happens is that, depending on the cheek design, the bit either rotates clockwise, as seen from the left-hand side, or anti-clockwise. Now, it turns out that loose ring bits like this one rotate clockwise when rein tension is applied. So when rotation happens, the angle of the bore axis changes as the bit rotates around on the horse's tongue. Let's just sketch in what that means. So we've got a clockwise rotation of the bore axis, and we can draw a new line here. We'll call this bore axis 2. So the initial one was almost at right angles to the tongue line, and then on rotation there was a clockwise rotation of the axis of the bit around into the working position. So suddenly we have the word working coming in. And at this point we can define an angle between two lines. The angle between BA2 and the angle between the tongue line, TL. And that is the working angle. So we go round by convention in an anti-clockwise direction to define positive angles. And this will be the WA, the working angle. Now, if you know something about the design of the bit and the method of rotation, whether it rotates clockwise or anti-clockwise, and by how much, you can determine what features on the bit inside the mouth are pointing onto the tongue. Any feature, for instance, that has a small angle to the tongue, maybe 0 degrees or 180 degrees, is not pointing down onto the tongue. And any feature on the bit inside the mouth that has an angle of close to 90 degrees inside the mouth to the tongue is pointing down onto the tongue. So you can see that by looking at the bit outside of the mouth, the bit we can see, the bore axis as it rotates, we can determine what's going on inside the mouth to work out what features we want to sit on the tongue. And that's the importance of the working angle. Thank you.